John.
Eric. It's not Wednesday night.
It is not Wednesday night. 'Tis a Tuesday.
It is a Tuesday.
'Tis the season to do Tuesday.
That's because when holidays are on Thursdays, it's easier to edit on a not holiday.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But consider this the holiday episode.
A holiday spectacular. Although, I hope your stuff's spectacular then.
I have a spectacular complaint.
Oh, hit me up.
I think it's no secret I am generally a big fan of the Mac and Apple hardware, and I have been an Apple user since System 7 and have had Macs forever. And by far, Big Sur is the worst upgrade I have ever experienced. And there have been bad upgrades. This one has just introduced new things that drive me insane and flat out don't work. So
I am so sorry.
Fortunately, I think they're all software issues and they can be fixed. It's just I plug laptops into. I have several USB-C docking stations. Several. I have 2. And I swap between work
2 is more than 1.
and personal between, one and the other. Because the Bluetooth keyboard and trackpad that I have, I need to have those work on both laptops. I have my fancy Bluetooth Apple keyboard and trackpad wired.
Okay.
Which worked great when I would swap, laptops around. It would just go, oh, I notice you have a wired keyboard and thing. No problem. With Big Sur, it says, oh, those keyboard and trackpad are Bluetooth enabled. I'm going to add them to your Bluetooth. You know what I don't want added to Bluetooth?
Yeah.
The keyboard and trackpad when I swap, because now I'm typing, it's not on the screen, and I look behind me, and I've been typing on the screen behind me.
Oh, gosh.
And that's the easy one to fix. The other one is occasionally the keyboard will just stop working. It's not the attached keyboard, it's the keyboard on the Mac laptop itself. You'll
the one that should always work.
It's like there's a modal window somewhere that I have to close, but it is nowhere. There is no modal window anywhere. And
is your
the only
space bar
solution
getting
is
stuck
to
down?
Hard power. No. So this by far has been my worst upgrade experience. I'm half expecting the computer just to not work one of these days, but maybe that means I'll just have to reformat and start from scratch, which used to be something I did all the time, but computers have gotten so good, I don't think I've done that in a long time.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Anyways.
I wouldn't. Well, oh yeah, I guess it's not Apple Silicon, so Brew will still work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy, my wife and I had a similar frustrating couple evenings this week. Although I think I've got a solution now. So, but I have these AirPods Pro, right? And in the newest version,
not the Max.
No. Jeez, not the Max. Yeah. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they're lovely, whatever. But I do have the Pros. I got them, I don't know. I want to say maybe I bought them for my birthday or something like that. I don't know. Whatever. But with the new version of iOS, they're trying to be smart about, oh, you've started listening to the audio on this other new device that your AirPods have been paired with at some point in time. Mm-hmm. I will conveniently switch to you, even if you were watching something on another device. So the scenario is, I'm sitting watching a show, I think, on my iPad, just literally just sitting in bed, and my wife is next to me, and she's scrolling like Facebook, and every time she scrolled past a video that would have audio, the headphones would switch to her phone, and I'm like, hello, I'm in the middle of a show. and she of course is like, why is there no audio coming out? Well, I'm getting your audio. And anyway, so after 2 nights of that, she was like, you are going to be not allowed to do anything with those headphones while you're within Bluetooth range of me. If we don't have a solution. And because of course the first night I was like, well, why don't you just turn your Bluetooth off? You're not using your Bluetooth. What? Anyway, so that was a very minor, short-lived solution. But anyway, it turns out if the headphones are attached to, so I had to attach them to her phone deliberately in the settings towards the bottom for, I think in the Bluetooth settings for the devices, there's a thing that says whether or not you want to connect automatically or only when last connected to this device. And I turned that off on her phone, and I think we've been okay for the last, well, I'm not sure we've done it. We've been in that situation since I did that, but that was super duper frustrating. Super frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want smart devices. Thank you very much. I do want devices that are fast. Like if I say connect, I want them to connect. I like them.
Right.
I like my Bluetooth headset to be able to be connected to multiple devices at the same time. That's awesome. Anyway, complaining of tech. What about?
I'm just complaining about Apple.
It's true. It's true. Well.
How else was your weekend?
My weekend was rainy. I got a new roof on my house this year, which was because my roof was going to collapse. So this weekend, my basement seems like it wants to flood. So, if it's not the top, it's the bottom. I think I know what's causing it. I think I know. I don't quite have a solution for it yet, but it's going to take some effort. But the first, I feel bad for my dog because I assumed it didn't flood like a lot, but I assumed it when I found it. Like
you blamed the dog.
Morning, I blamed the dog. I totally blamed the dog. So anyway, poor girl. Was not her fault. But so that's going to be exciting. And then I got to spent a good number of hours out in my shop this weekend. So that was fun, and I really enjoyed it. So
nice.
Yeah. Maybe. Oh, I did. Did I say it I forget if I said it on the podcast because I did it a couple of weeks ago. But I installed a smart switch out there so I could tell the dingus in the tube to turn it on and off my lights, which has been awesome. Mm-hmm. And I can have music playing out there. Although most of the time I have a headset on just for the noise canceling. I wear my over-the-ear thing so that it kind of blocks out noise if I've got machines going. But no, it was a good weekend. It was a good weekend. How about you?
Nice. We had another exciting. Calling it a COVID scare is too much, but my middle daughter, the one that works at the Montessori school as a TA. 2 teachers went home sick, and she came home with a sore throat and wasn't feeling so hot on Friday. And this caused some consternation amongst other family members who are a little bit more cautious about the COVID. So we took her. We found that our pediatrician has the rapid antigen 15-minute test in their office. So they don't have to send it to a lab. You show up. They swab your nose, and 15 minutes later, they will tell you, positive or negative.
That's awesome.
So we had to do that. But when we got to the hospital, which is the doctor's office is attached to the hospital. It's in the hospital, St. St. Vincent's Hospital. And, you're walking down the line that shows this is the in, this is the out, and we get to the front, and they ask, what are we here for? And like a dope, I say, I didn't realize I was a dope at the time. I found out later from the doctor that I was a dope. I said, we're here for a COVID test. And they said, oh, we have to escort you and you need to wear these face masks. So they gave us the face shields. So we had
Even though you have regular masks on.
yeah, we had regular masks on. We had to wear face shields, and we couldn't touch anything. They had to go to the elevator, push the buttons, escort us to the office, the doctor's office, ring the doorbell for us, stay with us until the doctor let us in. And I mentioned this to the doctor. I'm like, oh, you guys are being very, very cautious. And the doctor was actually a little upset because she's like, look, when you come in, PII, you do not have to tell anybody why you're there. They can't ask you. You don't have to tell them. You just have to say, I'm here to see my doctor, and we'll take care of it. So she told us not to wear the masks when we left. the face shields.
The shields? I was going to say
the shields. You can take those off. You're negative. Take those off, and you just march right out. And if they give you any trouble, tell them to talk to me. Okay.
That's funny.
So.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, but negative test. We're all good.
Well, I still haven't had any tests. No tests. No major scares in our household. But the only places we go are Papa Murphy's to pick up pizza, Lowe's for everything because that's my the grocery store, and the feed store for critters. I swear that's pretty much the only places we've been in. Well, I guess when we're out, we'll often go through, especially me because I am lazy and I like fast food. Go through a drive-through of some sort, but
yeah, that's pretty much us.
Got a couple more months. I really do feel, summer. Yeah. Summer is it's gonna take a long time to get everybody vaccinated. So,
yeah,
I'm super happy to see it starting.
Yeah, while I was with the doctor, I asked what her thoughts were, and she mentioned, because I mentioned that we have friends, coworkers in Ireland who the kids are still in school, and how all our kids are all completely online, and she said their research shows that if you're under 1 or over 12, then you become a risk. Kids, 1 to 12 have very low transmission, something or other. And she said, so really the only people that need to be vaccinated for at least the elementary kids to get going back to school, elementary kids, is the teachers. Those are the ones you really need to vaccinate. As part of, if you're going to start prioritizing people, frontline medical teachers, healthcare workers, those are the things you want to vaccinate. So I thought, okay, I can be last. I've been at home for 9 months, 10 months.
Oh yeah. I've
been at home since March 522nd. So I'm good.
I have no compunction about waiting, or that's the wrong word to say about that. But no, I'm not trying to. Oh gosh, why are they not getting to me? I mean, I'm healthy.
Yeah.
I'm, our family is staying safe. We're, of course, when it becomes available, and if time comes to schedule it, or I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, I will be ecstatic to, partake. But yeah, there's a whole lot of people at higher risk, and that should be getting it than us. Yeah, especially, I mean, the things that scare me the most are, the retirement communities, honestly. Maybe after the people actively caring for people with COVID, like, healthcare workers. But, It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Follow
We
up.
should probably get into the topics or oh yeah, follow up. Okay, so I threw two links in follow up, but they're both to the same stuff. Both related
Yeah.
to Sunburst. There's been I'd say no larger story, or all stories lead to Sunburst for the last week.
Right.
In some way, there's been continued to be a trickle of disclosures, maybe a flood of additional research, and a couple of the things that that I thought were pulling. There's lots of stuff that we could do here, but that would be the whole show. But the two links I brought out, the first one is about the Treasury. So yesterday it was announced that the Treasury Department had numerous officials' email accounts compromised in particular. So, that actually I think came from, well, the quote in the article that we'll link here says Microsoft Corp told the Treasury that dozens of email accounts were compromised. The statement said the hackers breached systems in the Treasury Department's Treasury's departmental offices unit, which contains the highest ranking officials. The IRS does not appear to be affected by the attack. Poor IRS. I don't think it doesn't work on PDP 11s, right? So the sorry. That's
I'm gonna have to include a link now for people so they know what that means.
That's a really bad joke. That's a really, really bad joke. Okay, don't laugh at that joke. That's awful. That's awful. Let's see. There was a quote in here from our senator, Mr. Wyden. Quote, according to Treasury staff, the agency suffered a serious breach beginning in July, the full depth of which isn't known. Treasury still does not know all the actions taken by the hackers or precisely what information was stolen. But yeah, so since July, which was, just a couple of months after the update that was poisoned. So that's the first one. Still kind of coming out. The second link in here is to the ZDNet article where Catalan enumerates some of the other links to research, but then has a list of potentially affected organizations. So the quote here is, multiple security researchers and research teams have published over the weekend lists ranging from 100 to 280 organizations that installed a Trojanized version of the SolarWinds Orion platform and had their internal systems infected with the Sunburst malware. I don't really like publishing victims in this situation. The research wise, the way that most of these were identified is through DNS. There was I might even have mentioned it last week because I think I seem to remember having read that last week. Okay. But there are lots of people enumerating. So let me just finish this that thought that I never finished the sentence. So from the DNS, there was a host name that basically encoded I think it was the domain. I don't have it in front of me, but the domain that the infected device was on. So based on the domain names, you could tell where, in most cases, what the company is. And so when the malware was reversed enough to be able to reverse engineer the domain generation algorithm, they could then go back into DNS logs and look at what requests had been made and cached on servers like Cloudflare and Microsoft, other domain providers or DNS providers, and then, basically say, oh, well, this one looks like it's and I'm going to go ahead and do it because it's in here. This one looks like it's an Intel. This one looks like it's a Cisco. This one looks like it's a Treasury Department. So right. Lots of state and local governments, lots of companies. So I'm sure this will continue. So let's see.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only other point I was going to make on the second follow-up article there was that it was surprisingly patient. There's a sleep that would basically sleep up to 2 weeks before the malware kind of woke up and attempted to contact the CNC server.
Right.
So it's kind of very patient.
Yeah.
Very patient.
Yep.
So, all right.
Alrighty.
How about a topic? What'd you bring me this week?
So I thought we have talked about farmers in the past and the right to repair.
Yep.
And, how farmers are dealing with things. Well, the UK, the NCSC, the National Cybersecurity Center, has issued its first ever guidance for farmers to help protect their industry from malware and ransomware.
Wow.
So
I did not see this.
That was interesting that now we're, based on what we've talked about in the past, 3 years now, over occasionally, that obviously farming is very high tech.
Extraordinary.
And if something is very high tech.
In some areas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if it is high tech, and that high tech is linked to making money, ransomware says, you know what? Maybe we go after you. So this is a new guidance. Apparently, it was developed alongside the National Farmers Union, which is trying to get farmers to read and review the document. The quote here is, "Rural crime is a huge issue for farm businesses, and we rightly look to protect our farm buildings, machinery, and our livestock. However, we all live and work in a digital world and must be conscious of the threats this can bring to our businesses," said Stuart Roberts, the NFU, National Farmers Union Deputy President. So I thought it was, I just thought this was a reminder that a cyber attacks can occur anywhere. Maybe not on your tractor, John. No high tech on your tractor, but
this is true. This is true. Well,
other areas.
I mean, the thing about this, and this is not the way that you would want to think, but it's the way you think after a number of years in this kind of industry. But the thing about farming, at least about what you'd think of farming as, you get in the tractor and you go harvest the crop or bale the hay. There's kind of two extremes, but in both cases there's critical access required. So for example, for somebody like my neighbor, none of his tractors are also this smart. But if they are, you don't have to, hack the tractor in January. Who cares, right? The it's not a constant value per day. But
Right.
if you were able to deny access to the resource during the 3 days when the weather is right, the hay is ready to be baled, it's already cut, the rain's coming on Saturday, got to get it up, and out of the field in the next 3 days, your entire year might be riding on the work you do in the next 3 days. It's a very rough, could be a rough time. Similarly, I guess though, for the mega farms, and I've never actually personally witnessed this, but my understanding is that they've got these in like crews of combines that like just sweep north, running, I don't know about 24/7, but pretty close to where, they're maximizing the use of those resources. And, during the time that they're active, I'm sure every it's sort of like having an assembly line being down in a manufacturing plant or something like that. You don't think it's important until you then do the math on and say, you realize that, this business is losing, X millions of dollars every hour that this manufacturing line is down or something along those lines, right?
Yep.
It's pretty, the numbers can get pretty staggering.
Yeah. So there you go. Everybody, cybersecurity is everybody's problem.
Software is eating the world.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great euphemism.
All right. What's your topic?
All right. I have like a really, really depressing topic. Sorry. not to bring you down on a night like this. My topic is about suspected 0-day hacking of journalists this past summer. So the link we'll put in the show notes here is to a Citizen Lab research, and this is about Israeli company called NSO Group. Their software called Pegasus or spyware, it was used to hack 36 personal phones belonging to journalists, producers, anchors, and executives at Al Jazeera, as well as at least another journalist at a London-based Arabic TV show or TV station. So, NSO Group, you can go read their wiki page if you want, but it's a company that basically sells spyware to governments around the world to spy on their citizens, and has been used by the sorts of governments that buy this to target, in particular, journalists and other people of interest to the states. But the thing about this article is this appears, at least for this past summer's exploit. Then there were other examples that were pulled out in the article. I didn't actually pull them out, but there have been other examples that they used last year. For example, you might remember something about the WhatsApp vulnerability. You could miss a call and have essentially a 0-day against WhatsApp. But this particular thing appears to have been a 0-day exploit chain they call Kismet, which appeared to be a 0-click, so a 0-click 0-day exploit in iMessage. So essentially, somebody sends potentially. I send you an iMessage. You don't even have to look at it. You don't have to do anything like that. But my sending you this specially crafted iMessage message, crashes iMessage, gives root access, allows execution, whatever it does. And then the details aren't exactly in here, although they did go into some detail on how they tracked down what was going on here. So a 0-click means no interaction. 0-day means there was no fix available at the time that it was used.
Right.
So the reason why it's a 0-day is because it was used against iOS 13.5.1, which was the most up-to-date version of iOS as of July and August. And it also meant that it, at least in this case, it worked on what was then the latest phone, the iPhone 11 as well. So let's see what other things are in here. Doing attribution is always a little tricky. They outline a little bit of this in here. They attribute, of the 36 phones that they detected compromise on, they actually detected they believe there are 4 separate actors, 2 of whom they were confident enough to give attribution to, and 2 of which they weren't. So one of them, nice keywords, monarchy, attributing to Saudi Arabia, and the other one, sneaky kestrel, they are attributing to the United Arab Emirates, UAE. On the bright side, it appears as if iOS 14 fixed this particular issue. So it's always a cat and mouse game. So who knows what they might be exploiting in iOS 14 that is not known yet. But this is a particularly frightening quote. Given the global reach of NSO Group's customer base and the apparent vulnerability of almost all iPhone devices prior to the iOS 14 update, we suspect that the infections we observed were a minuscule fraction of the total attacks leveraging that exploit. So
nice.
One of the IOCs in here was information about what were apparently the command and control servers. So it would be, if you were in possession of a large number of DNS logs, it might be interesting to, run a similar thing that they're doing for Sunburst at the moment to try and identify, people, customers, organizations that might have affected devices. But I'm sure there are people doing that at the moment. Let's see. Infrastructure used in these attacks included servers in Germany, France, UK, and Italy. And they have shared their findings with Apple, and Apple has confirmed that they are investigating. But that was pretty much like a one-off comment, so, who knows? Right. It does not, it was not stated or implied in the article that the iOS 14 fixes were because of this. I don't know. So let's see. The second half of the article, maybe the middle half of the article, middle third of the article, was some interesting little bit of sleuth work about how they determined the time and day of the infection. So one of the journalists, so most of the journalists declined to be named for the story, but two of them allowed it. And one of them, at least, allowed this Citizen Lab to install a VPN on his device. And so they analyzed his traffic for anomalies. And that's one of the ways they determined this is they saw some unusual traffic to one of Apple's servers. Right after receiving some suspicious messages from the iMessage servers, and then saw basically a download of a small bit of what does it say, 1.74 megabytes, so a small installer of some sort off of what was probably iCloud, that then within 16 seconds, I think they said. I didn't pull that out, but it seemed like within a couple of seconds, my note was go look at the article. So within a very short time frame of that suspicious download, they saw other traffic going to unusual servers, and in fact a server that what was the server that they had identified as a NSO installer server. Let's see. 16 seconds after the last connection to the Pegasus installation server. Oh, sorry. So that was the first thing. 16 seconds after the last connection of the Pegasus connection to the Pegasus installation server, they observed this person's iPhone communicate for the first time with 3 additional IPs over the next 16 hours. We never observed his phone communicating with these IPs previously and not since. Overall, we observed 270 megabytes of upload and 15 megabytes of download, and each IP returned a valid certificate for a particular server or host name, although the phone did not set the server name indication in the HTTPS client. So that's normally what you would, a normal HTTP client will say, hey, I'm trying to get to, myserver.net. whatever the server name is, but not setting that is an interesting indicator. Let's see. Because communications with these 3 servers commence 16 seconds after communications with the known Pegasus installation server, we suspect these 3 IPs were Pegasus command and control servers. So they go through some of the other, analysis that they had. But from the second journalist, the second journalist gave them her phone to basically analyze. And let's see, it says, while it was infected. So we obtained logs from an iPhone 11 device inside the Al Jazeera network while it was infected. The analysis indicates the current Pegasus implant has a number of capabilities, including, and this is recording audio from the microphone, including both ambient and hot mic recording. So listen to anything the phone can hear. Recording, let's see, audio of encrypted phone calls and taking pictures. In addition, the implant can track device location and access passwords and stored credentials.
It's not encrypted when you say it.
Right. Let's see. So this is a nasty situation, I think. Mm-hmm. My kind of takeaway from this, I actually want to read these last 2 paragraphs though. So counting the 36 cases revealed in this report, there are now at least 50 publicly known cases of journalists and others in media targeted with NSO spyware, with attacks observed as recently as August 2020. The increased targeting of the media is especially concerning given the fragmented and often ad hoc security practices and cultures among journalists and media outlets. That's kind of an understatement, I believe. Sorry, that was Jon aside. And the gap between the scale of threats and the security resources made available to reporters in newsrooms. These concerns are likely particularly acute for independent journalists in authoritarian states who, despite the fact that they play a crucial role in reporting information to the public, may be forced to work in dangerous conditions with even fewer security tools at their disposal than their peers in large news organizations. So, like I said, kind of a depressing topic, but an important one to be aware of, I think.
Yeah. I don't know how to follow that up with something fun now.
I'm sorry. There you go. Well, there is more detail in the article. If it interests you, we'll have a link in the show notes. You should go read it. And, obviously there's lots of other resources to, kind of track some of the things that are happening. And yeah. So, okay. No, you don't have to follow that with anything other than something fun.
Well, my something fun isn't actually an article.
Okay.
And originally, when I first was thinking of what I was going to do for my something fun, I didn't have a link at all. But now I do. So my something fun was, hey, it's the season. Get together with family and friends. Normally we do that during the holidays. You can still do that virtually. My brothers and sisters, whom I have not seen in person, and not as a result of COVID, but some of them I haven't seen in person for years. We've been getting together on occasion on Zoom calls and just kind of chat. When we all can see each other, we chat what's going on with our kids. Some of us had kids in college. My wife commented to me the other day, she's like, some of the kids now are old enough that we could be grandparents soon and great aunts and uncles soon, which is a scary thought.
Bite your tongue.
Yeah. But on the flip side, I got to check in with my nieces and nephews, and found out that my 10-year-old nephew, my youngest sister's youngest son, he's 10, loves to play Rocket League, which is the one video game I've been enjoying in my downtime.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's a team game. So we got together, the old geezer and the 10-year-old, and we went and played some Rocket League together. We got on FaceTime so we could talk to each other while we were playing, and it was actually kind of fun.
That's awesome.
To do something fun with my nephew, whom I haven't obviously seen for quite a while in person.
A tenth of his life.
They live in California. Yeah, pretty much. That's probably a little bit more than a tenth of his life. But yeah, we're all over the place. We're in, Seattle, Portland, Sacramento, LA area, and Chicago. So
yeah,
all over the place, and it's nice to get together. So just a reminder, hey, during the holiday season, get together virtually. It doesn't have to be Zoom. There's 1,000,001 different ways to do some video conferencing with family and friends. And then while we were talking, my wife sent me a link, which I'm going to throw in as my link to my something fun. My wife has sung in the Oregon Chorale. It's a choir group here in the Portland metro area. The Oregon Chorale for almost as long as we've lived here, I think, 15 plus years. And since, every year they have a Christmas concert. They have a spring concert and a fall concert and a Christmas concert. Well, the Christmas concert is not possible this year, but they each recorded themselves individually singing, and then they put all the video and audio together and made a YouTube video. So their Christmas concert is now posted and virtually available on YouTube, and that's the link I'll throw in there. If you enjoy choral music and some Christmas music, you can check that out and see if you can pick out my lovely wife.
That's awesome.
So there you go. That's my something fun.
That is something fun. That's great. All right. I have two-ish things. But the first, this week, we can't let this week pass without saying that the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction happened yesterday. I think the closest pass was last night. Because I went out last night to see if I could see them.
My boy was telling me about this.
And yeah, so living in Oregon in December is not the best time to do stargazing, at least not in the the Willamette Valley, because it's a atmospheric river, as they say. Mm-hmm. So your ability to look at something in the sky ranges from nice try to is there a break in the clouds there? So
right.
The other night, a couple nights ago, it was clear enough to see it, and our whole family went out, and I actually tried to take a couple of night shots of it too, which came out okay. But they weren't as close as they were last night. But last night when I went out, it was actually, I was like, oh man, it might have enough of a break I could see it, but they were actually below the horizon. So I was using the Sky Guide app to help, because I didn't see them, and I was like, well, I see some stars. Anyway, but the thing that's crazy about this is here, and here's the quote out of the link we'll put in here, is you'd have to go all the way back to just before dawn on March 4th, 1226, to see a closer alignment between these objects visible in the night sky. Mm-hmm. So that's a long time ago.
Yeah, my boy was telling me all about that, saying we had to go out and look, and I think like you, we went outside to look and didn't see anything.
No bueno. No bueno. No. So, but you can still, I think you could still go out for the next little bit of time, and they'll be passing. But anyway, so that's got to be my first something fun. And then my second one, I guess I would say, is I was looking at this article in Nature about what to expect in 2021. So science events to watch for in 2021. There's just a few. I mean, there's lots of kind of just general things, what to do about climate, or, how the COVID, vaccine is going to be, distribution's going to do, etc. But there's also a couple other things that I thought were more, I shouldn't say more important, because there's probably nothing more important than the vaccine distribution right at the moment. But an exciting thing is there's here's a quote: "All eyes will be on science publishing in 2021 as a 2-year open access project organized by some of the world's largest research funders comes to fruition. More than 20 organizations, including Wellcome in London, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in Seattle, Dutch national funder NWO, will from January start stipulating that scholarly papers published from the work they fund must be immediately free to read." So that is going to be an exciting thing for research and for open access to university research, because today it's kind of terrible how if you get accepted to a for a journal, and then it costs hundreds of dollars to get the journal subscriptions, and it's really not great as a system. So we'll see about that.
Right.
There's expectations of rulings for what to do about stem cell research. There's, some promising Alzheimer drug research. A China probe for Mars should touch down in February. So that will be exciting. The James Webb Space Telescope, which, NASA calls the largest, most powerful, and complex space telescope ever built, will be launched. So there's a number of cool things to look forward to in 2021. So I'll put the link in here to this article.
I foresee future something funs.
Right?
Cool.
I do as well. So there you go. So there's my something fun. I had brief thoughts of maybe trying to save that for next week, but I figured there'll probably be something else fun that happens this week. So I'm good to go.
All right. I'm excited this week to finally get to use the things I bought myself that my wife hid from me and wrapped and are now sitting under the tree.
Yes, that will be nice, will it? That's awesome. Well,
Alrighty.
Okay. Well, I would just like to say to you and to anyone listening to this, I hope that you have a very Merry Christmas and get a little bit of downtime in the next week or two. Mm-hmm. And that we have a better year next year. May 2021 be better than 2020.
All right, that was fun.
Yeah, one more in 2020, and then we'll put a bow on it next week.
All righty.
All right.
Have a good night, John.
I'll talk to you later, Eric. Bye.
Bye.